Now the other thing is, but that album pulls. Stevie Wonder was a student of music, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's part of what made him great. That's not to say that other folks weren't.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't afraid to put it in the gumbo.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we going bebop? I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I got a little.
Yeah.
I got Ray Parker Jr. on rock. He can play a little rock guitar. I can do that too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you need that funk?
Yeah.
You need that soul, that funky soul.
Yeah.
I can do that too. That's gospel, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
So Pastime Paradise, he uses Hare Krishna singers for that, for the chanting and stuff like
I
that.
didn't know that.
Yeah, it's still a sad commentary that Coolio, may he rest in peace, did not know.
Yeah, I know.
Gangsta's Paradise
Yeah.
Was a
started
sample.
from Pastime Paradise. He had no idea. That's just wild to me. But that's the kind of stuff that album had everything, and it talked about socioeconomic issues. So black man, Village Ghetto Land, which Village Ghetto Land is the opposite of Joy Inside My Tears. It sounds, like it's a classical upbeat, like Mozart or Tchaikovsky might have done that, and it's talking about living in poverty. You know what I mean? And Stevie wasn't afraid to tackle that stuff, and he did it very deftly.
Substance, man.
He did it very deftly.
This is crazy.
So we're talking about Stevie as the GOAT, and for the most part, we all agree. But who else would you throw in this GOAT gumbo or GOAT stew?
Prince got to be in there.
Yeah, Prince is there. For
Yes,
me.
Yeah.
yes, Prince.
So we all agree on that too.
Yeah.
I
Damn
think we
it.
do. But
Trying to
Yeah.
start
but
some shit.
hold on. No, we talked a little bit earlier. You said there's room for a little bit of argument. You don't think Songs in the Key of Life is Stevie's?
I do not think it's his
which one?
best
Which
album.
one you going with?
I think Innervisions is better.
I knew you was going to say it.
I think Fulfillingness First Finale is better. Also,
Oh man.
and that one's my favorite album. I wish we had the album covers here because my internet connection's a little spotty, so I can't pull up track lists. But yeah, those are the two that I think.
I knew you were
are
going to say
better.
Innervisions, Tone.
Mhm.
I discovered Innervisions way late in the game after I was a DJ.
Mhm.
Now that the Songs of Key of Life, I was just a child, and way before I even thought of being a DJ, I was hearing that record and at the crib. Innervisions came later, and I heard Rick Wilhite talk about Innervisions, or he dropped it. Something that was related to my boy Rick Wilhite. Shout out to Rick, what's up? But he made me start going to look at stuff because Rick is known for pulling out rare tunes and rare.
Oh, he looked for the C sides.
He's just
He's past the B sides.
past the B
I
sides.
like I like DJs like that.
And he put Innervisions on my radar. It was either him or Theo Parrish. One of those guys put Innervisions on my radar, and it was in the DJ circuit, so it was like we talk about as a form of a weapon, right? I was like, is it a weapon on Innervisions? Like, shit, is it some shit I missed? Because it's always something you missed. Like you talking to Doug, you don't know about that one for the da 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 da. Oh shit, what was it? Oh, you mean you ain't never heard the one with the da 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 da?
Yeah.
And then they leave, and you like, shit. You want to go find out what they tripping about. You know what I mean? So I heard folks tripping about Innervisions before I was
album.
on the
Great album.
Innervisions, and so I'm like, before you said open your mouth, I was like, he's gonna say Innervisions, like clockwork.
So for Fulfillingness First Finale,
Yeah.
I don't disagree with the idea that it's one of the GOAT's greatest albums. It is a really good album. It tackles issues, socio-political issues too. Love, of course. Stevie paints pictures, man. Bird of Beauty is my second favorite song, and that is that's almost like a bossa nova samba type joint, right? And he's speaking Portuguese on the tune. My man was speaking Spanish on Nicalela. Is that I think Nicalela?
Dedication to the craft.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But Fulfillingness First Finale gets overshadowed by Songs in the Key of Life, even though it's a really good album, right? And that's part of the the 4-album run from 72 to 76. So you go from Music of My Mind, you go from that to Talking Book, which they actually got released, I think, 10 months apart. And then you get Fulfillingness First Finale, and then you get the magnum opus, which is Songs in the Key of Life. But, and we're gonna talk about how he got to that point, how he got to that, by the way.
Okay. Let me just read the track list for Innervisions. Too High. I might have to go back and say this is my favorite album because
Go ahead.
Too
He
High
kicked it off.
is
Nice.
way up there on my list of Stevie Wonder songs. Visions, which is also up there. Living for the City.
I knew that one.
Golden Lady,
I knew the end of
which
that
is
one.
either my number one or number two Stevie Wonder song of all time.
Yeah.
Higher Ground, Jesus, Children of America,
That's an
All
underrated
in
tune.
Love is Fair, Don't You Worry About a Thing, He's Mr. Know-It-All.
Mr. Know-It-All. Okay. You ever heard that one? You've heard this before, right?
Of course.
That's about Richard Nixon. That joint, just again, Stevie's lyric, the way dude, my man is writing about a sitting president, or by that time he's probably resigned, and he's basically just calling him like a shyster.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Without having to say his name.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Without having to say his name, he paints this, and everybody knows who he's talking about.
Let me ask you this: since you're talking about lyrics, he's writing about a sitting president. When we factor in someone's greatness, do we just leave it like in basketball? They talk about LeBron and Kobe and Jordan or whatever, and then people want to bring in, well, LeBron was a great person off the court. He did this. Jordan was an asshole off the court. Do we just leave it music, like instruments, or do we factor
I see what
in
you're saying.
his political prowess too? Because he's making social commentary. He's actually speaking out about, the ghetto, and speaking out about how we need to love each other. Because I think it's hard to separate the two. Because when I think about Stevie, I think about the love that he spreads too. Like, not even if Stevie wasn't making a record, and Stevie is speaking at the Grammy, his acceptance speeches, and the children of the world. And I want to think, just
So I guarantee you guys have never seen him in concert. Like I said, I've seen him 4 times. I know for sure I've seen him 4 times in concert. Every one of those concerts, at some point he stops and he talks about, and it's not necessarily just the intro to Love is in Need of Love Today. He will say, look, we need to have more love in the world. All this, political bitterness and fighting and all this kind of stuff, and the racism, the sexism, all this stuff. If people would come together in love, that is a big theme. So it is very difficult to separate those things. And I know the man isn't perfect, but we don't hear any scandal.
true.
That man been in the game 60 years.
Yeah.
We don't hear any scandal about that guy. If you talk to Greg Fillinganes, if you listen to Greg Fillinganes, by the way, Stevie Wonder had some of the best musicians to ever appear on records.
Yes, on his album.
On his album, dude. And he would ask people, he's asked people to come and play with him. But if you listen to Greg Fillinganes would say, and he doesn't do it. He doesn't do it in a way that says, I can't stand these dudes. But he's like, them dudes didn't always want to give me credit for some of the stuff that I did.
Wow.
I'm not in the music business outside of playing records for people. So I don't know how it seems to be very important to him and other artists too. He's not the only person that said, look, man, I played on tunes, I wrote tunes for folks or helped people write tunes, and I didn't get my publishing and I didn't do this. So again, the man's not perfect, but you don't hear this, you don't hear bad words about Stevie.
You don't.
Man.
I can't think of one.
You know what I mean?
Let me
I
just
can't-
read
I can't
this
think of anything. Go
track
ahead.
listing
Go ahead.
for
Fulfillingness First Finale?
yeah. Fuck it, the good one.
What'd you say?
I was already thinking that Eddie Murphy. Fuck it, man. You know the good one.
All right. Smile Please.
Great
Heaven is 10 zillion light years away. Too Shy to Say. Boogie on Reggae Woman, which is my first or second on my list all time. Creeping. You Haven't Done Nothing,
Who's singing backup
featuring
on
the
that?
Jackson 5.
Correct.
Rest in peace, Tito.
Correct.
It Ain't No Use, They Won't Go When I Go, Bird of Beauty, and Please Don't Go.
That
Beautiful songs.
from top to bottom, man.
Beautiful
Great
songs.
album.
Yep.
Great album.
That's funny that we gotta make Stevie battle Stevie. So for me, that's more evidence that he is the GOAT.